Flatmates. First of all, make sure your mics are well connected and placed on your bodies. And make sure your name band is visible. Flatmates, earlier today you were given a task, which was draw or do a portrait or a painting of anything reflecting your past and explain to the public in 5 minutes. Les colocataires dessineront ou feront chacun un portrait ou une peinture de tout ce qui reflète le passé et expliqueront au public en 5 minutes chacun. That was your task. Now it is the time for the presentation. This task is sponsored by Mogamo Media and Entertainment Limited Liability Company. Flatmates, this task the best will earn a 50,000 francs CFA. Flatmates, with you, you have the ninja beside. You, you have extra likes. This is because you need the best of your words out there. The ninja will indicate who starts first and how we are going to proceed. And he will put on the mic each time one of you has to go up and present. Now, let's start with our first flatmate. Flatmates, make sure each time you move to the center of Biggy's heart, show what you have in your paper. Dario, show it to the camera. That's how you are going to do the presentation.
Okay, Biggy.
Now, let's start.
Good evening, flatmates. A sad story about my past. It all began in 2005. As you can see, the drawing are represented. I have the 2005 and the 2007. These 2 years have been a really bad year for me. A year never to forget, actually, when my life became nothing, actually. The crushes here belongs to my dad, and you see the amputated leg, where the leg was being amputated. So I'm going to tell you the story of everything about the drawing. I'm very happy to talk about my moment. I'm really happy to talk about this moment, though it makes me shed tears. But it makes me a man, because As they say, there is no future without the past. This story is about the amputated leg of my dad. It was 2005 where all this started. This leg started with a pain. After a short period, it started swelling and was asked to do many things. Like he was asked to do so many things of it. One of these things was for him to be buried alive so he can come back after 3 days and everything about the leg was finished. But he refused. Some other spiritual advice were given to him. He refused to accept it because coming back he knew he was not going to be a normal person.
Dario,
Yes, Biggy.
the most important thing here is your painting.
Okay, Biggy.
Make sure it's still visible until you are done telling the story.
Okay, Biggie. Good to go, Biggie. So he refused every other options until the leg was to be amputated and agreed, knowing that it was the last option that he had. Suffering started. This leg was being amputated with me at his side. Seeing the blood and the shade of the blood coming down from his leg, I couldn't bear it, knowing that there will come to be a time when there will be no school fees because he was not to work any longer. So being in the house with a dad that can't pay your school fees and you have to feed alone was really something I could not bear. I was still small that time, but I had the reasonable knowledge to know that a man with one leg is a disabled person. This went on. Talking of food was even difficult. The community he worked in refused to give him a leg, like an artificial leg. He went on for a long time. He had to sue them to court, but nothing happened. 2007, that's 2006, he started his illness. This illness took him down because he felt like there was nothing left for him. He gave up. I was beside him all throughout, but still yet, the courage was not there. Sickness took him all away. He was being admitted at my one hospital, Limbe, where I stood by him, leaving school. Then I was schooling in Douala. I left school every weekend to be with my dad. I couldn't sleep all night because I think I was the one so close to him. My name was being mentioned all night. When I left that morning, went back to Douala to school, and my mom went for a visit in the hospital, she discovered, after the hospital, coming back to Douala, they called her, he's gone. The saddest part of this story is that my dad never had the opportunity to be put in the mortuary. He was buried like a nobody, being that he gave all and all for a community that never showed love to him. Being that we were too small, all of us were too small for us to raise money. Being that he had no brother, being that he had no sister, as the only surviving son of his dad and the mom, he was supposed to be buried the way he died. He was embalmed, watched around 5 o'clock and was laid in bed. A coven came like that. My dad was being buried. But the only thing I can say, and the only thing that kept me going, was a promise I made to him that I won't give up no matter what until the day will come when I'm going to give him a befitting memorial service. And until that day, I'm going to remain that same son of his.
Good evening, flatmate. I I know you all might be wondering how come I'm presenting a piano, but first of all, this is my best instrument. This is my best instrument, and this is the instrument that I think I've gone through hell so I could have, but still yet I didn't have it. I think when I had an idea of starting a musical career, that was in 2003. I had always had this dream, this vision of always having this instrument as mine. I'm drawing this instrument as a past because I know the things I've gone through, so difficulties, in just to achieve this. But I never did. Now, I remember sometime in 2010 when I said to myself that I was going to do everything possible to make sure that I have this instrument. Now, they'll even give me money for fees, and I'll keep it. Then I'll go home and say the money is missing, and I'll be beaten, and I'll see the money is missing. I'll keep to my word just to use the money to buy this. And when I did, the case was closed with my family on that, and a new school fees was paid, but I still had that money. So I was supposed to add 10,000 francs to that money to get this piano. Unfortunately, that money was being stolen in school, so I didn't got this instrument. Even when even as time goes by, I had to keep on doing odd jobs, doing building, struggling to save money to get this instrument, and something will still come up from nowhere, and I'll still spend that money on it without getting this instrument. I remember a time when I left my job site, that I was still there. School was going on, but there are times I'll leave school to go work out so I could save money to get this instrument. I remember a time I was being caught up by police for not being in school because I was out there hustling to save money to get this instrument. But still, yeah, all the money I had struggled to hustle and saved, I had to use that money to save my head from them just because of this instrument. And why this instrument? Because I discovered that with this instrument, you could impact life. With this instrument, you could make someone happy. With this instrument, you could send out a message. With this instrument, you could form a whole music with this instrument. It's wonderful. And despite everything I went through to make sure to come up with this instrument, still yet nothing. I could save money for other things and I'll achieve them. But I don't know the mystery behind me not having this instrument. It's something that still to today I don't know what to say. And I remember a time that someone came with this instrument to me, somehow so cheap, and I was so excited. And I had to struggle to sell my phone, sell my mattress to get this instrument. And the day I did, I was supposed to put 5,000 francs into that money to get this instrument. But after I had that money, I said to myself that yes, I'm going to have this instrument this time. It was a feeling that I never had it before. So I don't know how it happened or what happened. I don't know who came into the house, collected a bag that the money was inside. I have to start all over again. Am I supposed to start every morning to get this instrument, or start every morning to buy a mattress, or start every morning to buy a phone? I discovered I had to buy a mattress and a phone. Still, the money for this instrument didn't come out. Now, even up to now that I'm having a studio, I don't have a piano. I have all other instruments, but I don't have a piano. If I have to play a piano, I'll have to use my keyboard, my computer keyboard, or I'll have to take from a friend, use and give, and I'll give back. I think not really because I cannot really get to buy this piano, but because it gets me angry. Anytime I think of the things I went through to get this piano and I couldn't get it, I just feel like I'm not going to get it. And I feel like if I couldn't get to buy this piano and I get to buy other things, then it means there is something behind me not getting this piano. So I want to stick to that of not getting this piano now. Thank you very much.
Lines you see here represents the road leading to my daddy's compound in the village. In those days, a man who has no house in the village was considered to be an empty man. He was never accorded respect. So this very building you see here, my daddy respects it a lot. He grew up in the village, so that was his own community. It would be a sad thing to have a house in the city and then you don't have one in the place where you grew up in. This man will talk about this building all the times of his life. This man will say he had this building when he was very young as compared to his age mates who were doing much better things than he was. He was just a barman. He had friends who were military men, friends who were doctors, but they couldn't afford this house the time he afforded it. Whenever we have a discussion in the house and we the children, we act as if we want to ridicule him, he'll always come back to this house. What makes this very house important is the fact that it was built when I was born. Early 1995. July. I celebrated the house, as in my baby shower was made in this house. My nephew, in quotes, my Nintong, the berry and Avudi house. It's because of this house that I was named. My name is Bonjen Leslie Aponglen. Aponglen there is the vernacular name, which means a good name. When my father built this house, his friends and everybody in the community were calling him Miongo man, who say take money for Biggy kind of house for which inch? Man, the same mimbo. Biggy kind of house. If no be Miongo, now wait again. So when he had me, he had to name me what was happening in his life at that time. Abonlen means a good name. That is why people always talk about you. If you were not a good person, if that name was not a good name, people would not even care to talk about you. This building you see right here, my kid sister, when she was born, and when we go to the village for holidays, we will be there together. I love her. She's called Claudia. There was one night that is remarkable about this building. My grandma was in the hospital, so my mom had to leave the two of us in the house. I was just about 3. No, I was about 6. And then my kid sister was about just 1 year. So she was still a baby. I had to take care of her at the age of 6 for hours. At that time, there were no there was no electricity in Awin. So we were using a lamp. Yo, the lamp we were using, the kerosene got finished. So everywhere was dark. And then my kiddo started crying. I thank God for my elder sister, yes, she was there. If not of her, I don't know what I would have done with my kisses. You know what it means for a child to be crying in your hands? Because there's no light, and then that child doesn't want to stop. That night to me, it would sound like a normal thing to you guys, but it was really a night of torture. So I'll conclude by saying, this building, I'll build a story building on it.
Bonsoir à tous. Mes dessins ne sont pas très merveilleux, mais bon. J'ai fait 2 dessins. Je vais commencer par parler du premier. Ce dessin, c'est moi. Ce dessin, c'est moi. Ce que vous voyez là, ce sont des larmes. Ce sont des larmes, pourquoi? Parce que pendant mon enfance, j'étais une personne qui pleurait beaucoup. Qui pleurait beaucoup, pourquoi? Parce que je n'ai pas vraiment une enfance facile. Quand je dis, bon, je ne vais pas parler vraiment de l'enfance, mais je vais parler de l'adolescence. Je n'ai pas vraiment une adolescence facile, dû à beaucoup de choses. Ça a d'abord commencé par des petits problèmes familiaux qu'il y avait à la maison. Mais ce n'était pas ça vraiment l'impact de ma situation qui me faisait pleurer tout le temps. Au fur et à mesure que l'âge passait, ma morphologie ne faisait que augmenter. Et j'étais différente de toute personne. En fait, j'ai toujours été différente au milieu de plusieurs personnes. Et à l'école, ça a été affecté, ça m'a un peu affecté à l'école, même comme je ne montrais pas. Mais ça m'a affecté à l'école. Je me mettais souvent dans des endroits, je me cachais, où je pleurais énormément avant d'aller reprendre les cours. Quand même je rentrais à la maison, j'étais toujours en pleurs. Parce que c'était une situation qui me gênait énormément de ne pas être comme d'autres personnes. De ne pas être comme d'autres personnes. Mais avec le temps, je me suis rendu compte que je ne suis pas seule. Et pourquoi ça devrait m'affecter moi, si ça n'affecte pas d'autres personnes. Vous savez, les enfants sont des personnes, je vais dire, innocentes, mais qui disent beaucoup de vérité dans leurs paroles et qui ont des paroles souvent aussi très blessantes. Quand je marche dans la rue, des enfants ont des paroles assez blessantes. Ah, maman, ce sont les fesses de quoi comme ça, machin, truc. Je vais dire que c'est un peu drôle, mais c'est quelque chose qui m'a beaucoup touchée. Et dans le passé aussi, je vais retourner dans les 5 ans en avant. J'ai rencontré une amie. Elle avait la même morphologie que moi. Un jour, quand on marchait, elle m'a dit, je ne me sens pas à l'aise quand je marche. Je lui ai demandé pourquoi tu ne te sens pas à l'aise. Elle m'a dit, quand je marche, on crie. Quand je marche, il y a des insultes. Quand je marche, il y a ci. Quand je marche, il y a ça. C'est où je me suis dit, mais elle aussi vit la même situation que moi je vis. Pourquoi ça devrait m'affecter? Pourquoi cette situation devait m'affecter moi? Ça ne devait pas m'affecter, ça devait plutôt être un plus. C'est où je vais dire, j'ai un peu arrêté de toujours pleurer et tout. Mais mon passage, je vais dire mon passage, ou bien ma transformation de moi-même s'est fait comment? Normalement, je devais être une personne qui s'habille toujours en kaba, qui s'habille toujours avec de grandes choses sur elle, pour ne pas montrer ses formes, pour qu'on ne parle pas et tout. Mais j'ai plutôt fait le contraire des choses. Je ne mettais jamais les cabas, je ne mettais jamais de jupe grande, je ne mettais jamais, même ce que je porte actuellement, si je ne le mettais pas. Je mettais plutôt des habits cintrés, je mettais plutôt des matelots. Malgré que ma maman me disait toujours, non, tu ne dois pas t'habiller comme ça, tu dois... Je dis que maman, je sais ce que je fais, parce que j'étais en train de travailler en moi. J'étais en train de travailler en moi, en fait. Et je vais encore dire quoi? Bon, maintenant, au jour d'aujourd'hui, je suis une personne, je peux dire, j'ai changé de ce côté-là parce que j'ai une totale confiance en moi. Une totale confiance en moi et une totale confiance en ce que je fais. Parce que je me dis toujours, chaque personne a un complexe. Que tu sois mince, grasse, que tu sois court, grande de taille, ce ne sont pas seulement des complexes physiques qu'on peut avoir, mais même des complexes émotionnels. Donc, vous ne devez pas juger l'apparence ou la mentalité d'une autre personne parce que cette personne est différente de vous. Parce que des personnes qui font mal aux autres personnes sont celles-là qui souffrent le plus. Ce sont celles-là qui souffrent le plus. Au jour d'aujourd'hui, il y a des fois, je reçois des messages, je ne sais même pas de qui c'est. Des messages, je reçois des messages, je reçois des appels d'harcèlement. Je ne sais pas où ces gens prennent mon numéro, je ne sais pas comment ils font pour avoir mon numéro. Mais je reçois constamment des messages de harcèlement, des messages d'insultes. Mais j'ai dit que ce n'est pas ça qui va m'arrêter. Ce n'est pas ça qui va m'arrêter à entreprendre ce que je veux entreprendre. Je ne peux pas vraiment parler du contenu de ces messages parce que si je parle ici, je vais vraiment écrouler. Donc, je vais un peu laisser cette partie-là. Même en route, quand je marche, je vais peut-être prendre un carrefour comme Dokoti. Si je n'étais pas une personne assez forte à l'intérieur, sinon je ne sais même plus, je ne sais plus si je vais mettre mes pieds dehors et dire que je vais marcher dans la rue. Parce que c'est vraiment difficile. Mais quand on dit des mots sales, quand on dit des mots pervers, c'est où je me mets encore à tourner mes fesses, à leur montrer que vos mots ne m'affectent pas. Ça ne m'affectera jamais. Bon, maintenant, cette personne-ci, je vais dire que c'est moi ici maintenant. J'aime les couleurs pour refléter ce que, bon, en fait, pour refléter le fond de mon cœur, si je peux dire comme ça. Bon, c'est moi, cette personne-ci. Je suis quittée d'une personne qui pleurait tout le temps à une personne qui a confiance en elle. À une personne qui est forte, à une personne qui peut dire elle est un exemple pour d'autres personnes. Et c'est ça que je veux être dans ma vie. Je ne veux pas juste être une personne qui fait indifféremment comme les autres, mais je veux que d'autres personnes se reflètent en moi. Je veux que d'autres personnes se reflètent en moi. Et je pense qu'un jour j'arriverai parce que le processus est encore en train de marcher. Donc ce n'est pas encore à la fin, mais je vais être cette personne-là. Cette personne sur qui on peut compter. Cette personne sur qui on peut s'appuyer. Une personne sur qui on peut dire la fille, je vais être comme elle. Je veux que ça impacte beaucoup de personnes. Merci.
Hello, family. My name is Cameroon, aka Bishop Waxy, DBW Trafficante, as you know. Here I'm holding an art. As you can see here, it's a craft work. And the reason I draw this is because it gives me a lot of attention whenever I see it. I drew it in different dimensions, and I would like to explain the drawings before I give you the reason why it makes me reflect backward. Here, if you see this like a stream, where I just sketch it, it's a stream, see water, you see the soil up here and the vegetation, you see down here, it's called clay. Why I draw this one is to tell you that this craft here is being fabricated through clay. Before you have something like this, it's a traditional bead that is mostly used in the northwest region and the west region. Before you fabricate this, we usually go and look for clay along the banks of any stream or any river. When you go to the streams, you will begin to test the soil with your machete to see if there is any clay around. If you chook the soil and you see how the machete looks like, you know that maybe there is clay there. Then you begin to dig the topsoil. When you dig the soil and you remove the clay out of the ground. And when we take you back home, you have to pound it. You pound the clay, you begin to cut it in little balls. And then cut it and smooth it with red oil, then burst it with a thick needle, and then it will be like something like this. Here I just sketch it like a tray where I'm drying a product. When it gets dry, you put it in another tray. Let's say a bad tray that you don't use it again in the kitchen. Then you put on the fire, you burn. When you burn it, it becomes solid and hard and reddish. There you remove. Allow it to get cold. You use sticks, bamboos, and chook through the holes that you burst with a needle. You pierce them on the plantain stem, because we cut a plantain stem where you can be piercing those sticks there before you paint. As you see there, it has three colors. Three colors. You start it with the white color, after which you draw the blue color on it, and then you decorate it with the red color, as you see. Then these little ones here are other decorations that you just do little balls, burst them, do the same procedure here, but you put just one color, let's say blue or black, where it will hang by your neck. That one will give you a complete traditional bead like this one. And the reason why anytime I see a bead like that on somebody's neck, it draws me back, is because when I lost my dad, we were in Boya, then we relocated to the village, and his pension wasn't passing. So we needed to adapt to a new system of life. So when I got to the village, I knew nothing. I was a little boy from one then. I was a very good footballer, very good one. And I was thinking that I would be a footballer one day. But because my dad died, I needed to abandon football and begin to do something like this. Where whenever I come back from school, I will need to go and look for this clay, come back, pound it, do all, because it is so it is so turgid. Therefore, it's a work that has a lot of process, and you need to be very, very steady and patient. If not, so you will never do it, because it is bit by bit, and it takes you a whole lot of time before you can finish one of these things. And the most funniest thing about it is that when you do it like this, those guys who live from the west to come and buy it from the village, they come and buy it for us for 250 francs. And I need to be doing it before you can do one when you are back from school, and then to go and sell it for 250 francs. I can manage from the first beginnings. I was very slow. I was doing at least, at most, 5 per week. That 5 per week was giving me 1,200 francs, 1,250 francs. And the 1,250 francs was coming directly to my mom. The only thing she would do is to ask me if I have paint. If I say no, I don't have paint, she will know how to remove maybe 300 francs there, so that I can go and buy half paint, come and continue the painting whenever I'm back from school. So the reason why I'm looking at this thing and then it calls me back, because I know that was my foundation. That was where I started behaving like a man when I was not even a man. That was when I started acting like a father, which I was not a father, because I needed to do this thing the whole of my life. Because there I stopped playing football. Children will come back from school, they are playing football. I will hear the sound of football, but it will not irritate me that much, because I've decided that if I don't do this thing, my mother will surely die again and we will be left alone. So I just put myself in my father's position. Since my mom was not used to the village, she had no crowd. I felt what came, it's like something just descended to me, and I started doing this thing without learning it. Some guys, they were doing it, so I was just passing by. I was asking them, so you can sit like this from now till night with this thing? Say yes. I was telling them that I cannot do that. So when it came that things became too rough, I went by them, and then I started helping one by putting just the red color. So when I was putting the red color, he told me that I'm doing it very perfectly. I said, very perfectly. He said I'm doing it very well. So just that word I told me that I'm doing it very well, the next week came, I told him that I want to do my own. He said that, you cannot do it. I said, I want to do it. He told me that, bon, let's go and dig clay. We went and dug the clay, we came, pound it, so I did it. He said he would give me paint for free. So I sat with him, we did all the things, that I managed to do two now. I was still learning, even though it was not that good. When you are still a learner, they buy maybe 150 francs or 100 francs. And when I went the first week and I sold it for 150 francs, 2 for 300 francs, I was like a giant. I came back home, I was telling my mom that I've sold those things. So I sold them. Say that I'm going to use the money and buy paint. She said, no trouble. I went and bought the paint until I became a god of this thing, because in a very short while, those that were doing it were too amazed of what I'm doing, because what I wear here that is something that I do it only me alone. Those round ones that nobody that I know can do it. We do but just these long ones like that, and then draw them like this. But when I came out one day by error, I was trying to wind it, then it carved somehow. So I was looking at it and man, what is this? So I decided to smoothen it and pierce. And then I was looking at it. One guy came and looked at it and said that what is this? I say, this is my nyem. Because the name in the dialect is nyem. She looked at it and told me that maybe I've looked at the head of my prick, and then when I removed it, because it was just like with the head of a prick. So now we laugh about it. I said that I'll do it one full one. So I did it. I went to the market. People were scrambling. So I thought, francs. I told her, no, this one is 1,000 francs. Just trying to try somebody. Somebody said that 750 francs. I turned about and smiled. I said, 750. I said, no. He said, 750, take it. I took it. He told me to go and be doing those one and bring it. So that was when I became like a giant. Anytime I'm coming to the market, they want to see what I will remove from my back. So the reason I draw this thing is because whenever I see on somebody's leg, it's like I'm referring my foundation where I started working on.
Yeah, as we all know, my name is Dieudonné Fon. I'm an athlete, I'm an artist, I'm a community volunteer, I'm also a motivational speaker. So I would like to tell you the story behind this portrait. I decided to do it black and white, even though the images are very clear and unique. I decided to leave it black and white because I intentionally want to let the picture tasteless because of the story behind it. First of all, I titled my story, A City Built on the Hill. Honestly speaking, my mother had never showed me where my leg was buried till today. She intentionally denied to show me since 2006 that my leg was amputated. But I took this picture in the hospital with my mother in 2006. This picture, each time I look at it in my mind, it gives me the energy, it gives me the courage, it gives me the bravery and the daring person that I am today. I thought as a little child that being on one leg was useless. I thought as a little child that I was not going to be useful or productive. But as I grew up, I discovered that being on one leg doesn't define a man or a woman. With one limb, I have become an international footballer. I play soccer. With one limb, I was even able to have a beautiful family. With one limb, I was able to go to school and become an educated person. And just to let you know, this picture is just one of the pictures that portray the kind of woman, the kind of mother that I have. My mother taught me empathy. My mother slept on the same hospital bed with me for 2 years. She left behind all the other kids, my 7 brothers and sisters. My mother taught me how to take care and to put myself in the shoe of others. That is, even in the hospital, my mother would she would carry the physicists of other kids who were in the same hospital room or the same hospital with me. My mother is a loving and caring woman. This is why I decided to draw this particular image of her and myself on a hospital bed. This picture projects when I was still with the leg. Therefore, I have moved on 10 toes. I've experienced what it means to walk with 10 toes. But after battling for 2 years, I lost the leg. Today, I can tell you all that image you see here today reminds me never to give up. The same boy you see here today is the same boy that almost lost hope some years ago because he was ignorant, because he never knew that he could turn his problems into opportunities. Today I'm in Biggy mansion. Today I'm a hero in my community. Today my people are proud of me, not because I'm on 2 legs, but because I have potentials. I would like to tell the world today that it is not how people look at you that define you. That is why the highest competitor, the highest opponent that I have is the person standing here, and only the person standing here. I compete with myself every day to become a better, improved person. My story has inspired the world. My story has made so many people that want to give up to stand back to their feet. My story had made so many people that want to kill themselves, that want to commit suicide, to know that they have to live again. My story alone, this picture you see here, is enough reason to believe that there's somebody up there that is called God. It's to believe that there is a power, and it's to believe that the fact that God kept me alive, I have a lot to contribute to the world. Who am I today to play with the national team of the country for the amputee soccer? Who am I today in Biggy's mansion? Had it been I was on 2 legs, maybe I would have been carrying guns, maybe I would be moving up and down, harassing, maybe raping women. Maybe I would have not been educated. Maybe I would have found my path simply because I'm distracted. I think I'm physically strong. But I thank God for allowing me to be who I am today, which has greatly humbled me, and sit down and look at the potentials that I have and look deep inside me and come out with the real useful potentials in me. I believe that with this image, young Cameroonians, fellow youths, are going to understand, and those in and out of the country, to know that when there is life, there is hope. And only you will have to project your hope. No other person is going to make your hope happen. They may only help you, but they cannot make you to be who you are. You have to start it first. Today I look forward to play internationally, not on 2 legs, but on 1 leg. 1 thing, or 3 things, or 2 things for sure, that this portrait brings to my mind. The pain I've gone through, the trauma, the frustration, did not break me down. It simply built me to be the solid rock that I am today. I'm fearless. I am brave. I don't give up. I take it to the finish line. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cameroon. I'm from the Comland. I am here today to talk about a portrait that portrays my past. This particular one is very deep. At any moment I think about it, I feel shivers, I feel pain, I feel deep emotions that brings tears to my eyes. But one thing that is for sure, I'm happy that anytime I'm about to talk about this story, a part in my soul heals up, and it makes me feel more better about myself. This portrait, it is titled Lost. It portrays my heart being torn apart by my life experiences that have shaped me for the man that I am today. At the top right corner, you can see it's a phone. It's a phone. I can remember when I left high school, 2014, 2015. I became so frustrated. I wrote many exams. I wrote ENS. I wrote many concours. I never succeeded in any of the exams. So my life became so confused. We were not oriented by then on the job opportunities or how we could do our life. I got frustrated. So I found myself stuck on the media space, on Facebook most especially. I wasted 1 year of my life not knowing what I was achieving, not knowing what I was doing, no direction, and no focus. The second picture is a hand being tied. It represents a story which is very deep. After I left school, I became so frustrated. There was a time when I never knew when left was right or when right was left. I got confused. I had no career path. I had no money. My parents were broke by then. My life just went into a shambles. Now this takes us to the third picture, which is, if you can see clearly, it's a cigarette. After I got this frustration, I became so depressed that I dived into drugs. I'm sorry to say, drugs, I will not advise anybody that is here to dive into drugs. No matter how frustrated, no matter how depressed you get, it was the most painful part of my life because it became an addiction. I never knew how to control it. I never knew how to stop it. The third picture shows a score, a dark score. This represents fear. A few years ago, I was never confident enough in myself, especially when I was in high school. I was very tiny by then. Grace to God, I'm now big. I was very tiny. I had insecurities. I had fear. I was being bullied a lot because I was too skinny. But I'm glad as years went by, I was able to overcome those fears. That's why I had the opportunity to be in Biggy's mansion today. And the last but not the least, if you can see clearly, these are heartbeats. This line here, this green place here shows the moments in my life which I'm up. As you can see, the down moments, you can see it's indicated by the red. So as my life goes, it's always been up and down. There's never been a permanent happy moment in my life. There's never been a permanent sad moment in my life. I'm always having good moments, and out of a sudden, my life goes back into sad moments. And it continues to now, till date. So my life is an open canvas. I'm happy because I've allowed myself to make such mistakes. I believe making mistakes is allowing yourself to grow stronger. I believe making mistakes is part of life. If you don't make mistakes, you won't be able to teach others out there. You won't be able to impact life. So I'm glad that this story, I'm able to tell people today, and I'm glad that at this moment I feel relieved. I feel a part of me has been healed. Thank you very much.
This is a picture of where I was born. This is my grandmother's house. I'm sorry, I have a cold. This is a picture of where I was born. This is actually where I had my first cry. This is actually where I was given from what I was made to understand, I was given a luxurious childhood. You know, growing up, my father didn't have, but our grandmother was there for us. Shout out to her, Mama Christina. I'm so grateful. I had a very good childhood. I had a luxurious childhood. You know, this exactly, in this picture, this is exactly how this compound looked like. A plum tree and 2 mango trees at the sides. And the road that leads into the house. You know, growing up in this house, where I was given everything. I was the admiration of every kid around me. Even in our family, I was like the star child, you know. And I grew up like that. I felt special. I felt too loved. I grew up with her. I felt too loved. And it came a point in time where I had to leave
being as innocent as I am, I cannot really put my fingers on why, but it's fresh in my memory that there was an argument between my dad, I think so, and her. You know, because of an argument, I had to leave. I had to leave. I wasn't even there with my mom. Though. Mom lived somewhere else. I had to leave. All I can remember is her talking, unpacking my stuffs, and I even left behind my Trabant slippers, the Trabant that people wear now. Some even buy it for 20-something thousand. I wore it as a child. That's to show you how luxurious I lived as a child. So I left, but I had to come back. I came back, and I felt like I was a problem. I kept on feeling like I was a problem all my life until I became the problem. You know, then they were cool. They were cool. The only mistake they made was putting me in the middle when they had their issues. But when they became fine, I kept on feeling like the problem until I became the problem. This house brings this house, I used to feel that any person that grew up here completely, not partially like I did, had a better life. I saw some of my cousins. I felt like they were right in front. Not until now, I'm actually proud of where I am today, you know. But before now, I used to think like, if what happened did not happen, I would have had a different life. But this is actually my life. I would have definitely come to this. And I used to feel like it started too early. You know, I came back, I started feeling like I was a problem until I became the problem. As a child, it has a way that it played on me. People spoke too much about me as a child. People spoke too much about me when I was growing up. As a good child, everybody loved. But growing up, the same people who loved spoke ill. I don't know what happened, spoke ill, until I had to release myself. I took what I call as freedom forcefully. It worked on me so hard. That's why I always use the word I thought I was a problem until I became the problem finally. Growing up here is what I call home, and I've never felt at home. Now, the only lesson about this house is this is where I got my base. It's only after the problem that I knew the exact relationship between my grandmother and my dad. She's actually their firstborn, but she's way older. So I grew up to know her as grandma until the issue. And even up to secondary school, they still had issues, not with her, with his sibling, and I was still at the center. This house gave me a good base. This house gave me a good life from the beginning, and it still has given. Shout out to her, she has always tried for us. Now, this is the issue. If you have to listen to my story, you would have to learn that if you are ever going to be a parent, you should never bring a child into any problem you have. I cannot remember. I was too young to live the way I left. The scenario is all over my head. I could only remember me being chased out, a lot of rowdiness. You know, I cannot really explain it well, but nobody has ever told me why I left from the beginning before coming back. Nobody ever told me, but I knew there was a problem. I always mentioned that there was a problem. It dealt with me so bad. And I'm happy that I took it up to myself. I was spoken about a lot. I'm happy that I took it up to myself and I became the person that I am. I ceased my life from people talking so much about me, the people who talked well about me, and I ceased my life right now, I can say I've gone back to what I used to be as an infant. They're not all good. Now, the lesson of my life is this. If you're ever going to be a parent, please don't drag a child into anything. They have never told me the truth, but that is the truth. They dragged me into it, and I've never felt at home where I call home. Thank you.
There is a song that says, things are different now. Something happened to me, and I gave my life to Jesus Christ. My name is Fale Kingsley Noni, and for the first time, I will say a little about my past. You are looking at an ex-Capone in a confraternity. Peer pressure, the quest to have power, the quest to be on top of your game, the quest to have women, ladies, everything happening for you is the main thing that dragged me and some youths into cultism. I never talk about my university life because I actually went to one, but it ended just after 6 months. It was as bad as that. We were already practicing it in secondary school. And when I got to the uni, I can't continue because of how bad it was. I was excommunicated and the decree was signed in the country where I was not to be admitted in any school. It ruined my life, it ruined my vision, my goals and everything. I didn't paint this, I didn't try to make it beautiful because there's nothing beautiful where I'm coming from. Is the street brutal? I don't want to imagine or think about it. The other side of my painting or my drawing is the sun and Holy Bible. You can only light and get better at the end of every tunnel. I thank God for Jesus. I met him and he turned my life around. I might not preach about him all the time, I'm sorry God, but I know where you picked me, I know where you washed me, and I know where you're taking me to. Advice to the youth out there, there's a way that seems right, but the end of it all is destruction. Thank you.
So great picture of my family house, and this picture brings back both beautiful and sad memories. I'm going to talk about them both. Now, this house reminds me of a time when life was simple, when my siblings and I would gather home for the holidays. No matter the holidays, we'll talk about our boarding school experiences, the smell, the beautiful smell of my mom's cooking, just having everyone around, both immediate and extended family. It was a lovely time. It also reminds me of the time when my dad literally fought for his life and eventually lost it. Of a time when things went from amazing to manageable. Still thank God for God. It reminds me of a time when I only saw my dad during his sick period, I think once, because of school and then work. I wasn't able to tell him goodbye. I wasn't able to be by his side during that tough period. I wasn't able to be my mom's support system. It reminds me of a time when my father's remains were brought back into the country and he was laid to rest. For so long, I lost my dad when I was an adult, but no one ever really explained to me what grief was. I knew people died. I understood it, but I'd never really felt it the way it hit me. So for so long, we all know there are several stages of grief. For so long, I was stuck in the angry phase. I was angry at myself. I was angry at the world. I was angry at God. I just needed someone to transfer my aggression to. So I was angry for so long. I was stuck at that stage. I was angry for the fact that a part of me, I wasn't able to be a little girl. I wasn't able to be a young girl, to live the life of a young girl. Because with my dad's passing, I had to grow up so fast. I was angry about all of that. The fact that a part of my innocence was taken away from me. I was forced to adulthood really early. Why did it have to be me? Why did my dad have to leave so early? So all of that, I was angry about that. But looking back now, it has made me the woman I am. It has made me the strong woman I am. I feel like if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be where I am. I would still be stuck in that little girl phase, that baby phase. But I like the fact that I appreciate the fact that I was able to grow up so fast that with my dad's passing, I was able to literally take life by the horns. I was able to do things, literally when I think about them now, I'm proud of myself. I took decisions, I did things that made me into the woman I am today. So my little message is, whatever phase you are in life, because I feel like that was just a phase. I had to go through that to be able to become the person I am today. Whatever the phase is, take it at a time. Take it all in, learn the lessons. Don't try to jump past it, because several times I tried to jump past that phase. I tried to skip the phases of grief. I wanted for it to be over so fast.
I want to tell you guys a brief story of mine back then. I think 2015, 2016. Okay, after some years when I lost my parents, I was living with my grandma in Kumba. So I was going to class Kumba by then from 2. Then my uncle, that's the elder brother of my mom, said, ever since I've been in Kumba, I don't know how to say good morning in a dialect. And I'm living with my grandmother. My grandmother is that kind of a woman, they call her Mami Kumba. She loves pidgin. So I've been growing up speaking pidgin. I can only speak English when I'm in school and so on. So then my uncle, there was a successor. So our grandfather informed them. He asked us to, he carried me and the other children in front of him for us to know our culture and tradition there. So yeah, this place is a piece of land, like it's a big land. From here, our house is not far, not allocated in this my drawing. So this is a road. This road leads to other village. So this road now, yeah, is being in our, like, it's in our land. So yeah, still I was my grandmother. I was that kind of a girl that I was being pampered. So though my grandma was going to the farm, I was never going to the farm. So I came here. I started going to the farm because there were enough land for us to cultivate. So my uncle by then, like, I want my children to know how to work, to do everything. So literally, we did everything by ourselves. We have to clear by ourselves, work, plan, harvest by ourselves. He was a chief there. He will not permit other, or like, women always come to help to work. So he will look for another piece. We have enough land for them to work. So we have to work our own. So yeah, by then, I was from Kumba. I knew nothing, how to dress to go to the farm. There's something, you guys know I always like to wear short things. But I had one of my short skirts. I always like to wear the same color, this me here. To take to the farm, I was dressing always sexy because our house is the farm. This is our house, and we just choose anywhere to go and cultivate. As you can see, this is stone. Fontaine, first of all, is made up of hills. This is the road. You have to climb through hills and so on and so forth. So made of hills, we have many stones and so on. Like when you want to walk, any ridge or a pet, we call it pet. there are many stones there. So you always hit this. How this is why I have rough, like I have marks on my body down that's even cleared. And when I see it, I remember my life there in front there. These are stones. Yeah, the upper side, yeah, palm trees. Down here, we used this is a river. These are stones. Fontaine what is made of stones, hills, and these are beds that we walk. This is my collar. This is my home. This is me standing like a farmer. Yeah, in Fontaine, life was so hard for me because I've always lived this life of the last born. So, but then in Fontaine, I was the elder person, the eldest in the house. And my uncle by then, shout out to him, I went to the rough way of life. I've suffered a lot, but I will say thank you. Shout out to you, Mbe Fotabe. You have made me to be this woman that I am today, a strong one. And I'm proud to say I can go, take a land, I clear the land by myself, work, do everything, plant and harvest. These are cash crop here in Fontaine, mostly plant cassava. You as a woman in that land, you must always have cassava in your farm because the men love swallow and cocoyam. So these are mostly because my father loved cassava. We use it to make fufu. So we literally do everything by ourselves, and I was the lead. So should in case anything happens or should in case anything is wrong, I will be held responsible. They will pick me. And my junior ones, they were so stubborn. They were very stubborn. At times, because we're now living in a compound, it's Fontaine there, our town there. So we have a big country there. So my father will leave the village to the town to go and sell very early in the morning. So when I go and wake my junior ones up, so okay, this time let's go to the farm because my father would, I call it daddy, he would literally okay, this piece, people have to work all of this day. They were so lazy. I was like, oh. And if I don't do it, I'll be like, when he comes back, he'll be like, Queen, you've carried all my children and stay in the house. People have not done anything, of which I will be the one, as the elder one, to go and work. They will be there sleeping. I will go and work. But my father was that time, he was very strict. He will give you 24 when you have not finished or you've done anything wrong. He will give you 24. But when he's giving you that 24 on your buttocks, you put your hand, if you're in 23, he will start it back at 1 until he give you back other 24. So it was so hard. I hate when he beats the people, my junior ones. So I'll be like, we are the one that done, now I've done the work, of which is me or with the other one. So that's how I've been receiving insults for him and so on and so forth. So I brought this history down in order to show, look at my legs, that somehow, yeah, there are marks there, it's not yet clear. So when I look at it, I will cut to collar, stones will hit the leg. So when times in the long run, I started noticing how my legs were so bad. I was that fresh and toddler's baby. My leg was damaged. So I had now to start tying my body from head to toe for my body not to get bad, to be destroyed. So my message there to the world is that, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a slave queen or what, whenever you're going to the farm, make sure you cover yourself very well. Cover yourself very well. Avoid such, because now I cannot sleep in peace. I've just lived okay. You get it? And also, despite the hard way of life, despite what, people will say, okay, my uncle maltreated me. No, they did not. They have made you to be strong. Because now I can say to myself, Queen, you are the strongest in that family. Because I can do everything. Grace to him. Thank you.
Bonsoir, Flatmate. Mon dessin d'aujourd'hui a un titre qui est Hommage à maman. Sur mes dessins, en fait, on peut apercevoir une jeune fille qui a faim, triste, une maman allant au champ, et c'est pas un champ, une maman rentrant du champ avec des provisions, la nourriture sur la tête, et une jeune fille pleurant en voyant sa maman. En fait, le truc, c'est que ces personnes, c'est moi et ma maman. Donc, les personnages, c'est ma maman et moi. En fait, pour moi, cette image, c'est une routine de mon passé. C'est une routine de mon passé. Et ce jour m'a spécialement touchée. Donc, c'est ce jour qui m'est venu en image. Ce jour m'a spécialement touchée. Pourquoi? En fait, maman, par le passé, elle avait cette habitude de se lever, parfois sans 5 francs dans la poche, et tout, se disant, qu'est-ce que mes enfants vont manger aujourd'hui? Peut-être elle a 500 en poche. La distance, parce que par le passé, je vivais à l'ouest, plus précisément à Bafoussam, j'avais 12 ans, un truc comme ça. Donc, la distance de quittant de la maison pour les champs, on payait 400 francs. Donc, quand elle se levait parfois les matins, elle se retrouvait peut-être avec 600 dans les poches. Elle se dit, si je fais quelque chose avec les 600, qu'est-ce que mes enfants vont pouvoir manger demain? C'est où elle réfléchit, elle dit non, je peux marcher une distance, puisqu'elle n'avait que 600. Et la distance, et le tarif quittant de la maison pour le village coûtait 400 francs. Elle se dit, voici 600. Donc, si je marche à pied, arrivé à un niveau, je prends le taxi pour le village, ça pourra aller. C'est alors comme ça, là, qu'un jour, on nous a chassés de l'école, un truc comme ça. Mes frères sont rentrés de l'école. L'argent qu'elle avait sur elle, elle est partie payer la pension de mes frères. Donc, puisque ça ne suffisait pas, moi, j'ai dû rester à la maison. Et je suis restée à la maison. Ce jour, j'avais faim. J'étais triste. Elle n'avait plus d'argent sur elle. Elle avait une somme de 500 francs en poche. Elle s'est dit, bon, si j'achète quelque chose pour celle-ci, qu'est-ce que les autres vont rester? Qu'est-ce que les autres vont faire quand ils vont rentrer de classe? C'est où elle s'est dit, et elle était malade ce jour, en fait. Un jour. Bon. Elle était malade ce jour. Elle s'est levée. En fait, elle s'est levée ce jour avec 500 en poche. Elle a décidé de marcher. Elle a marché sur ce jour. Quand elle est arrivée à un niveau où il fallait prendre 100 francs pour le village parce qu'elle était fatiguée, elle a pris 100 francs pour le village. Il lui restait 400 francs en poche. C'est ça qu'elle devait utiliser pour le retour. C'est où elle est partie au village pour chercher les provisions. Donc, elle est partie au village chercher la nourriture et tout et tout. Elle a donc décidé de rentrer. La voici ici, là. La voici ici, là, avec des provisions sur la tête, un autre sac à dos où il y avait de la nourriture, un truc comme ça. Et là, maintenant, c'est moi. Ce jour, je suis restée, lorsque j'ai vu maman arriver, parce que quand le taxi te laisse, en fait, tu dois marcher encore pour arriver à la maison. Puisqu'elle n'avait que 400 francs ce jour. Quand le taxi l'a laissée, avec toutes les charges qu'elle avait, et malade, elle a... Avec toutes les charges qu'elle avait prises du village, elle est donc quittée de la gare routière pour la maison. Elle était tellement fatiguée ce jour. Ça, c'est donc moi en pleurs. En fait, quand j'ai mis l'œil sur ma maman ce jour, elle était fatiguée avec les charges sur elle. Je me suis effondrée en fait. Je me suis mise en larmes. C'est elle qui a déposé ses charges au sol et elle m'a fait comprendre. Elle m'a donné une parole le jour-là. Qu'est-ce qu'une mère ne ferait pour ses enfants? Qu'est-ce qu'une mère ne ferait pour ses enfants? Elle a déposé les charges et elle a arrêté ma main. Nous sommes entrés à la maison. En fait, je ne voudrais pas continuer l'histoire parce que cette histoire, elle est vraiment longue. j'ai seulement pris dans une petite partie parce que si je continue, je vais m'effondrer et je n'aime pas vraiment montrer mes émotions. Bien qu'aujourd'hui, ça arrivait, c'est parce que je ne peux pas m'empêcher lorsque je raconte cette histoire. Donc, depuis ce jour, en fait, la parole qu'elle m'a dit, qu'est-ce qu'une mère ne fera pas pour ses enfants, moi, aujourd'hui, je retourne cette parole en disant qu'est-ce qu'un enfant ne fera pas pour sa maman.
Good evening, flatmates. Good evening, world. I am Afa from the Northwest region, precisely Cameroon. Today, I am to present to you a portrait of something that concerns my past. The title of my portrait is Birth. This is it. This is birth. Now, what is birth? Starting from here, this is a fingerprint. My originality, as in, this is me. Everything about this is me. This is the drawing of a lady who represents the mother figure in my life. I didn't have one mother when I was growing up. A lot of mothers groomed me up. So all my mothers are one. This represents all my mothers. Now, this is a newborn, a kid. The right eye of this mom is the main source of food to this kid, which is tears, which means I fed from my mom's right eye, her tears. The left eye gets the umbilical cord connected to it. My mom will always cry, my moms, due to the difficulties they went through, but their left eye got my umbilical cord attached. Wherever I was, they could feel what was wrong with me at that time. It's a kind of astro-navigational painting because it has a lot of mystery. At some point in time, I received some kind of gifts of nature that were really strange. I could hypnotize. I could read people's minds. There are a lot of disabilities. They come and go. Now, if you notice, the left side of my mom's face has a lot of shadows. That was that dark side, that dark part of them, the pain they went through. But the smile always lightened up because they saw this kid. That's why the right side is bright. That's the reason for that. Beneath the face, you have the painting of a little bungalow. It's a house it's a Carabot house made of planks. At the age of 2, I was able to wake up, take a bucket of water and a brush to paint the planks of my Carabot house. Because I always told my mom, it is my wish to get us something more than this. And that is why I struggle. The small door to our house was written rare. This was by a neighbor when he noticed the abnormalities or the astro-navigational part of this newborn kid. He took charcoal and wrote on our door, rare. So this stands for that rare kid. Beside here, we just have a firewood kitchen because it's not built. We did all our cooking out here. So, birth represents all those mothers out there, all those kids who grew up in such conditions, and tells the world that we are nothing without our parents. This is my source of inspiration. Some people ask me, how do you do what you do? This is how I do what I do. This portrait, this painting. This is that mother figure. It taught me what an African woman should be. what an African woman will always be, and what a kid, as such astro-navigational kid, represents to the world. This is birth. Thank you.
Bonsoir, la mère. Moi, j'ai vécu tellement de choses dans ma vie qu'il n'y a pas, en fait, il n'y a pas une seule, il n'y a pas une image pour représenter ce qui me touche. Mais il y a une phrase que quand je pense à ça, ça me rappelle tout mon passé. Cette phrase, c'est « Tout ce que Dieu fait est bon ». Plusieurs personnes d'entre nous, quand ils étaient petits, ils avaient les journaux intimes où ils écrivaient tout ce qui les arrivait de bien ou de mal. Moi, je n'avais pas un journal, mais j'avais une phrase. Tout ce que Dieu fait est bon. Je vais vous raconter l'histoire de cette phrase. Quand j'avais 6 ans, 7 ans, 8 ans, j'étais à l'école primaire, je répétais beaucoup cette phrase parce que je l'avais écoutée sans savoir ce qu'elle dit, ce que ça voulait dire. Devant les amis, pour montrer que j'étais intelligent, je disais toujours tout ce que Dieu fait est bon. Et quand je disais ça, non, tout le monde disait que non, il connaît le français, ça veut dire qu'il a raison. C'est arrivé en 6e, mon professeur de français avait prononcé cette phrase. Je suis parti à la fin des cours, je suis parti vers elle. Je lui ai demandé, Madame, s'il vous plaît, que veut dire tout ce que Dieu fait est bon? Elle m'a expliqué. C'est là où tout a basculé dans ma vie. La façon qu'elle m'a expliqué ça, je me suis rendu compte que, en fait, la vie, c'est nous, souvent, qui la compliquons. J'ai eu beaucoup de déceptions dans ma vie, beaucoup de souffrances. Par exemple, comparé à certaines personnes d'entre vous, moi, j'ai su lire à l'âge de 14 ans. Ça me frustrait de voir les petits enfants de 6 ans qui savaient lire. Moi, à 14 ans, je faisais, je pense, peut-être 4e. Je ne connaissais pas lire. Et j'étais obligé de réciter mes résumés pour partir composer. Au lieu de me fâcher, je me disais toujours, tout ce que Dieu fait est bon. Quand j'étais à l'école primaire, au cours moyen 2, on avait posé la tenue pour défiler à tous les élèves du cours moyen 2. Tous mes camarades étaient sortis, sauf pour moi. C'est en 6e que je me suis dit que tout ce que Dieu fait est bon. La preuve, tous mes camarades avaient raté le concours, sauf moi. J'avais eu mon concours pour entrer en 6e dans l'établissement le plus prestigieux de Ngaoundéré, où j'ai fréquenté. Quand quelque chose de mal m'arrive, j'ai fait l'accident, je me suis déboîté plusieurs fois le bras, mes amis se moquent de moi, j'ai bagarré pour rien. La maison de ma mère s'est brûlée. Toutes mes économies se sont brûlées. J'ai perdu les femmes, j'ai perdu ma famille, j'ai perdu les amis. J'ai abandonné beaucoup de choses. On m'a forcé à faire beaucoup de choses. Le seul endroit où je trouvais le bonheur, c'est quand j'écrivais cette phrase sur un papier ou quand je pensais à elle. C'est là où tout passait. Après, je devenais calme. Je me disais que demain, peut-être est meilleur qu'aujourd'hui. Donc, tout ce que Dieu fait est bon. D'autres personnes, peut-être, moi j'ai échoué, j'ai raté les examens. Je m'en voulais. Pourquoi je n'ai pas réussi comme certaines personnes? Pourquoi moi aussi je ne peux pas réussir à l'examen où tout le monde a réussi? C'est plus tard que j'ai compris que dans la vie, c'est aujourd'hui que j'ai compris que non, J'ai raté, pourquoi? Parce qu'il fallait que je devienne sage. Il fallait que je sache, il fallait que la vie me forme, que je connaisse ce qui veut dire la déception, la douleur. Voilà pourquoi je me suis toujours dit, et j'ai toujours dit cette phrase, tout ce que Dieu fait est bon. Le bleu, vous voyez, je l'ai peint en bleu. J'ai peint cette phrase, c'est un mot en bleu. Pour moi, le bleu représente ce qui est beau, ce qui nous fait rêver. Moi, ce qui me fait rêver, c'est le ciel. Parce que c'est quelque chose qu'on ne peut pas toucher, mais c'est quelque chose qu'on voit. On ne peut pas le couvrir, on ne peut pas l'empêcher, on ne peut pas le priver de quelqu'un. Alors c'est beau. Le violet représente ce qui fait un peu mal, donc ce qui est beau. Le rouge, sur ce papier, représente la force, ce qui te donne le courage et l'amour chaque matin. Cette phrase, je l'ai accompagnée de ce mot, vanité. Ici, ce bout de papier que vous voyez, ce dessin que vous voyez, en bas, ce sont des parasites, peints en rouge. Ici, le rouge représente ce qui fait mal, la douleur, les échecs, la mort. Parce que ici, tout le monde a déjà subi la douleur, a déjà perdu un être cher. Moi, j'ai perdu un être cher. J'ai perdu des êtres chers. J'ai eu beaucoup de douleurs, beaucoup de déceptions. Ces parasites ici en bas représentent tout ce qui fait mal, ce jeune homme. Mais tout ce qui te fait mal, dis-toi que dans la vie, non, si aujourd'hui tu n'as pas, demain tu pourras. Alors la vie aussi, tout est vanité. Tu peux avoir aujourd'hui, demain tu n'as pas. Tu peux ne pas avoir aujourd'hui et demain tu as. La vanité. Ce dessin me caractérise aujourd'hui. Et ça me caractérisait hier parce que ça représente mon passé et ça décrit aussi mon futur. Ici, la vanité pour moi c'est quoi? C'est celui-là qui sait aider, qui ne s'attache pas aux choses de la terre, qui sait que si j'ai 1 aujourd'hui, demain je peux avoir 0. Mais comme je ne suis pas un homme orgueilleux, alors il faudrait peut-être, comme tout vient, tout part, c'est Dieu qui donne, alors il faut aussi apprendre à partager. Et moi, dans ma vie, je partage ce que j'ai. Même si ce que j'ai ne signifie rien pour les autres, mais je partage. Ce que j'ai, même si ça signifie trop pour les autres, je partage. Parce que dans la vie, tout est vanité. Il ne faut rien garder pour soi. Quand tu as, il faut partager. Après la vanité, vous voyez le blanc. Ici en haut, c'est le en blanc. Ici en bas, peut-être vous ne le voyez pas, mais il y a un fond gris sur ça qui représente aussi la tristesse. Le blanc ici représente ce qui est pur. Ce qui est pur, ce qui donne la force. Et chez moi, j'ai ces deux. Chez moi, il n'y a pas de portrait. Je n'ai pas de tableau chez moi. Mais le seul truc que j'ai chez moi, c'est ces 2 affiches qui sont posées, une devant ma chambre et l'autre dans mon salon. Vanité. Tout ce que Dieu fait est bon, car tout est vanité. Ça, c'est mon histoire.
Represents the UBA Visa card. Obtaining this card actually has given me both bad and good experiences in life. Obtaining the card still wasn't easy on me. In 2018,
When I got into Longreach, when you get an account, or you create an account in Longreach, you are obliged to own a bank account with a UBA bank. Getting to the bank to create a bank account, as anxious as I was about hustling, because to me it was like, if I don't make my own money and touching myself, I'm not going to rest. Nobody's going to drink water. Getting to the bank in 2018, that was December, because I remember I registered on the 20th of December 2018. A week after, I was ready at the UBA Bank, a commercial venue, to obtain a bank account with a bank. Getting there, they told me I was a minor and I will not be permitted to obtain a bank account, that I need an authorization from a lawyer to prove that I can obtain a bank account. As anxious as I was, I got to the manager's office, presented myself, had to plead with her. She directed me to chambers at City Chemist to get there to see if I could see a lawyer for my authorization. Getting to the lawyer, everything was arranged. I had to ask my dad. I called him and said he should scan his ID card and send to me so that I can use. Because on your authorization form, you need to have either of your parents, the ID card numbers, for it to be there to prove that they have permitted you to own a bank account at that age. The lawyer did. I'm coming back to the bank that had already closed for that day. It was a Friday, so I only had to come back the following week. Coming back the following week, things had changed. They told me they don't need an authorization on paper, that they need an authorization physically, that my father is going to stand or my mom is going to stand to tell them that I've authorized my daughter at her age. By then I was just 19, to own a bank account with our bank. I had to create my bank account to link it up with my Longreach account, so that every Thursday I'll be receiving the bonuses the compensation plan demands. I had to call my dad, leaving from Fuka, where they are based, to Bamenda. Transportation costs, due to some issues I cannot mention here, had risen from barely 6,000 francs to 20,000. Him being a businessman, he had to lock his shop for a week to travel because I put pressure on him. I told him to come up and do this thing for me because I really need it. He had to come up because of an ID card. You understand how things are going now in there. He came up. I took him to the bank the next day. I photocopied his ID card at the documentation beside the bank. We went upstairs, met the manager. They said this is what they wanted, this is what they needed. I obtained a bank account. From there now, I was supposed to obtain a Visa card to make my transactions easy. It's not all the time that I go to the bank to withdraw money that I need to follow a line or fill forms. I had to obtain this Visa card. It was easier by then obtaining the Visa card because I already had a bank account number. December 2020, I was having my small monies that Longreach always pay me at the end of the month. When family calls and say they are in need of this, that I've run out of this, I always go withdraw. This card means a lot to me. I will never go and ask anybody if I should do this or not. I'll just get to the ATM. I withdraw money and send. They solve their problems. December 2020, that was on the 13th of December. I withdrew huge sums of money in my bank account using this Visa card. Sent to my dad to change the materials of our chairs in our sitting room. In our living room, sorry. I was very proud about that project. My plans have always been that to him, he has already built his houses. Actually, he has the houses that he has built, but my plans have always been that the houses he has built, we will actually come and stay in those houses and then we send him to a different location where it will really be convenient just for him and his wife. So I'll start with the chair project. It was very successful. I had to actually go down to the village to spend the Christmas with them. Unfortunately, I could not because I had seminars to host with a language company. I got to the village today, the following day I was coming back. But I just wanted, it's not like I was to confirm as if I don't trust them. I just wanted to celebrate with them. Actually, what this card has done to me, that we all are supposed to enjoy Christmas in a different way. Same 2020, March 2020, I told my father, Daddy, drop all your responsibilities as I'm concerned. I'm going to take care of myself from here. Due to the fact that Longwish was paying me something into my bank account, I was using this particular card to withdraw money and use. I was paying my house rent, take care of myself, take care of my needs. The only thing I told him to do that I don't want it to look like I want to challenge him is the fact that I said you can maintain my tuition. Because actually at the University of Birmingham, I don't pay the fees for the faculties and some schools. We pay the tuition. Because if it was fees, we're talking about hundreds of thousands. I said you would take care of my tuition since I'm not married that I could say my husband will take care of my school fees. I took everything upon myself. As a world is, like I said, this card has made me, obtaining this card made me to go through bad and good experiences. 2021, July 2021, my rat met me. I don't know what I'll call them, scammers, dealers, or whatever. They got to me mentioning Longwich's name. They have products for me. I just have to make a payment and my products will get to me. Because I used to withdraw money, I go to the storekeepers, I get products I store in the house so that if I want to do delivery, it should be easier for me to do. They gave me a bill of 750,000. I thought I was smart in life, but they say, when it is your time, truly, no matter how smart you think you are, I've been gathering this money, I'm sorry to say it here, I was gathering this money into my account due to this program, due to this great privilege Biggy Studios has given me to be part of. I was actually gathering for it. July, everything was removed from my account. I used my 2 legs, left Nkwen, went to commercial and used the same card, withdrew money. The asked 750 by then was just 450 in the account. I called my father, told him that the savings you've been doing with the credit union, take off 250 and send to me, please. I really want to do something important. He went up to check on the people because they are all located in the market square from Fuka. They were not there. I don't know what I was God's doing or something. They were not there. I woke up the following morning, took this very card. As anxious as I was, went to Commercial Avenue at the bank, withdrew this money. They sent me a Western Union name to send through. I did. I sent the money. The second time, I had to send through an orange money number because it shows the name they sent to me. Maybe they've already destroyed the ID card or something. The third time was a mobile money number. It's after that the third payment, the second payment was 70,000, the third payment was 50. They were like, we asked 750. Gathering what you've already sent is not even up to the amount we asked you. Then they were actually shouting at me. I was like, please, can these things get to me first and then I can complete the payment? I've already given 3/4 of the payment. They started shouting. It's from there that I actually wanted to turn into a mad woman at Commercial Avenue. My head was like, but I'm the one who needs these products and I'm the one giving the money to these people. Why is it that they are then shouting at me and then getting angry at the fact that I've not even completed the money? My head started coming that this could be a scam. I immediately forwarded the messages to my elder sister. She told me that now you fucked up in life. Sorry for using the word, but it's as bad as it was. This same card that it helped me to put a smile on my family's face, friends, myself. It also made me to go depression from that moment. I have been through depression, like there was nobody I could talk to. What I was gathering had failed. I was even asking myself how I would get myself here, but God did it for me. God did it for me. I can't really say it was my making because my account balance from what was left was 14,000 francs. And you know the way these cards work. You cannot withdraw even less than 10,000 because that 10,000 has to be there to prove that the account is active. That 4K I cannot withdraw. I really go stand for bank move 4,000 now. So there was really nothing I could do about it, but God did it for me. And from the very first day, as He allowed it to happen, because I would say it was my own time, as He allowed it to happen, He's going to take me through. Thank you.
Good evening, flatmates.
This Hanson Marsh, defender of the street child, originate from 100%. I've listened to so much, and almost everything about me has been told. I'll just go straight to what I knew I was going to say. The rising and the setting of the sun is the energy that kept us going, us the street children. The energy it shares to all, the rich, the poor, the needy, and what have you. The darkness that then soon emerges on all, we all shared it. The love we share was in deception, it was in self-interest, it was in self-centeredness, the love was in hurt, and what have you. But one thing is sure, all what happens for love. This love could be self-love, it could be love for things, it could be love for family, it could be love for friends, it could be love for humanity, it could be love for divinity, it could be love for the street child. I'm very good at drawing, but I decided to paint this stupid thing that looks like my past. At the other side, you have the dark side of my painting, which I call it the unknown. At the other side, I have the rising of the sun, and within the rays of the sun, I have the cross, which represents divinity. I use this particular mark because I'm a Christian by faith and by practice, saved by Christ. February 22nd, 2012. And I have a funny kind of hand that I've drawn that is holding the love itself. And of course, I have love in all its form. Some are beautiful, I believe, some are very ugly, some are poorly drawn, and some are poorly colored. But at the center of it all, I still have divinity, which is represented by the cross. Now, I was born September 16, 1996, as I was told. And I was left alone. I can't remember the exact date, but it was actually in 2010. By then, I was just 14 years, which means to date, I've been independent for 17 years, if I'm miscalculating. Which means I got my independence from when I got my independence as a child till now, and I've lived longer alone than with my parents. And I have a very bitter experience living with my parents, which is not the topic of discourse today. And I thank God for my maternal grandmother and my maternal grandfather who stood there for me. As Alpha would rightly say, I was mothered by every mother in the community. And I would say every good child is a good child to every good parent. And every good parent is a parent to every good child. And therefore, when I was born in divinity. And when I was born in divinity, I was born in the unknown. And in the unknown rested the things we could not see that are everywhere visible. When I left my life from the unknown, I found myself in divinity, and I experienced the love of God from when I was born till where I am standing. And that is why there are a lot of stars, there are a lot of happenings about me that I cannot explain. But for where I am standing, I'm standing somewhere around the divinity, towards stardom, and towards the sun. Now, a little bit about the unknown. When I left divinity and found myself in a white shade of love untold, I could not tell whether it was for deception, it was for self-centeredness, It was for whatever kind of love it was. I never knew what love actually could be at this particular moment. This was 2012, where actually I stood between divinity and humanity and self. And I came to a point, before making a choice to go back to divinity, I found myself in the unknown. In the unknown, I got to places where I would not even want to mention, but those places are found only in the unknown. And that's why when I see somebody from the unknown, we easily relate, because I know how people they behave. I understand their language, I can speak it. When I meet people from the unknown, before you say it, I know where you're coming from. Before you behave, I know why you're behaving the way you're behaving. And when I left the unknown, I found myself in the hands of shattered love. That is distant already in 2015, where I have a mark. And this mark was given to me where I had a confused state fighting again between divinity and self. At this particular moment, humanity was out of the scene. It was between divinity and self. Now, this is the worst battle I've ever fought in my life out of so many battles I won't mention, which I have marks as proof, physically and spiritually and what have you. Now, in 2015, where I fought between divinity and self, I was struck. I can call it a strike because it was a dangerous bike accident, December 23, 2015, along when you're going down from upstation down to Bamida town. At this particular moment, I was in cattle business with some Hausa guys from Hotspot. We are coming back from a period where we had slaughtered cows during Christmas period. We had a lot of money to share. Now, I can't tell how we got where we got, but I found myself in a hospital on the 25th, which means 23rd evening to 24th. I can't tell what happened and how it happened. And the funniest part of it is that I wasn't the one riding, but the person I was riding never had any issues, which means he was the one taking care of me. But I was lying helplessly. Now, that's when I get back myself in late 2015 into divinity. And after all of that, I struggled in divinity till back in 2018, where I got myself into the unknown because of peer pressure. Now, I had touched hundreds of thousands and money that, in fact, I've touched millions. As young as I was back then, I was maximum 19 years or so. Yeah, between 19 and 18 years or so. Now, where was I going to get back this worth I had once had? With all the peer pressure, with all the plans shattered, with all the friends lost, and I'm finding myself in between divinity and humanity and no self. I needed a self. And I went back to the unknown. And in the unknown, there are rules you must respect. And the very first rule that was given me in the unknown, that found myself in the space, not in the divinity, not in the self, and not in humanity, was the rule: you don't do any other thing. Blood is not needed, but you worship me for the rest of your life. And I said, I am looking for a self, not a deity. So the people that understand. And I left the unknown and found myself in space. Now, going back to 2019, where I found my wife. By then, she was just a very close friend of mine. Like, we shared a lot in common. She might have never been into the unknown, but she's dipped in divinity and humanity. I was looking for self, and that self is only found in humanity. So I found a human that doesn't have self, but is deep in humanity, and she gave me a self that I have become today. Now, when I found the one with whom I am today, I found myself in humanity, and I started forgetting about self and looking for divinity. Now, life wasn't as sweet as it would be, but where we are now, I found myself in this hand, somewhere around the shattered love. It could be beautiful, it could not be, but I'm not in the thick one. And I'm telling myself, whatever I have become, wherever I have become, it is because of divinity and humanity. I'm heading for the sun with divinity, and that is why I came up with the idea of the street child. I am from the street, I know what it is like up there. And all we need is the rising of the sun and the setting of the sun. We never choose to be born there. No street child was choose to be born in the street. But if we are given just one chance, we can become the better people everyone else expects. So I shout out to every street child out there. Thank you.
Please go to the kitchen, do something about our life. Our life is interesting.
Yes. Israel.
Mais tu sais,
Tu vois.
aqui vão até. There's no food, sorry. I won't wash it. I have to wash.
Very dangerous.
Biggy.
Zuma. Come on, order this for me.
I'm scared of the gas.
Come on.
Queenie.
C'est un diagramme of sir.
No, they cannot get.
They don't need to. I'm talking to the.
They cannot.
We understood. Me, I understood you.
Ask somebody like on your wife.
You're talking to the.
Ask somebody like a fish. No, you can't. We never, we never can know.
What it is humans now?
It's a higher power.
Am I right? Yeah.
No, he said something. That one we said about no, without any share of blood. I didn't get it.
Oh,
yeah. I didn't get it. No, yeah, no, wait, yeah, man. I didn't understand because I didn't get the full phrase.
I get it.
I just.
So you're going to hear all the words.
He explained it.
Are you here?
See, this like the rules. Like,
I'm aware.
okay, or not.
Explain another thing.
Immediately.
Yes, I know. The problem is I know. Can you leave me alone?
So you say you know that
I know your system. Yo.
I said, I don't understand. I'm posting my complaints here, and then he's like, yeah, and then he's laughing at me. So I was like, what's my right? You need to know this.
You know, I think so that when I start again, I want to yeah.
Maybe there's camera here. I don't understand.
Nah, even if there's camera.
Is this for aesthetics or is for fancy? I mean, I'm hanging more.
Yes, I'm not in that on the dashboard.
Those guys also be
They cannot put one issue.
It was love.
Will you collab or not? You pay.
You. Someone.
Say you know. You collab with me on the song.
Then
500K.
you give me.
Huh?
You give me.
Then
C'est platine.
c'est platine.
Iya, kama kumanguna. Iya. Mawe. Oh. Hallelujah. We had a very stressful activity today. We were called up by the Biggy to draw our art and present a story from our class. We told, look in general, and saw some type of drawing that we don't understand. Wahoo. We will start with first.
Nah, yes, Mama. Hey, don't never know. Yes, I'm not understand because I will speak English for me. But it's almost hey. Now listen, listen. On the house captain, I will come to you. Je l'ai compté. I counted the house captain while I was giving me. I counted the house captain. Why are they being? No, fish up quick one. Yeah, please. Okay. Hey, push it up. Push it up. Now one this. Okay. I know you push it also like that. Okay. Don't you even see your mom continue. Continue. Sorry, okay, sorry, no. You want to know that you make a your best number one. I don't get push. It don't be only the I have to finish. Give me a
What's my pen now, blue? That's my pen.
Oh, they're lighting pen. Get me things now.
I'm going for the house captain.
House captain, you wanna be long here?
Peperi, patience. Madu
already gets it.
Tu n'as pas encore cuit alors?
Paper please.
Non, il a connu là-bas.
I am very sorry, but I am very hungry today. I need to shut up. Shut up.
One person, no excess.
The that is me now.
I can't get it old. Magdo, maybe the long person are far. If I find them far away, no, I find the chat to the one happy no. Même affaire. Okay. They already asked you. Because you don't decide this time is the way we can see the chef that you may need to find out. Maybe there's nobody's fault. Inside there like this, inside the pot.
No, that's very good.
I don't eat soup. You want to throw this table? I will let you. And then she's not on the final. She's so fish.
How is the chef fish cook?
It's a fish. You can put my own fish here. You can give me here. Let me do it. Now two fish. Hey, my lord, this is my own. Don't forget me. My lord, this is one fish. Give me more down. That one extra that is left one that I will share it now. For the fish. Share it with this here. Small dry. Nah, this is pepper now. Yeah, not pepper too. Let me go now. Listen, go under. No area. No area. No, whatever that's it.
The home guy is
Okay,
looking
that's
now.
Come on, that's your fish. I'm going to put more fish. Yes, extra fish. Remember in the binding of the fish. It's okay. Hey, mon Richie, c'est qui a pris là?
It's okay. Tu vas aller là, parce qu'elle n'est pas comme moi. That's a one especially.
I just pick it, and once I pick it, I know it's an ear. You only have, it's like you don't want someone to pull you from the bad side. Even if that's not, you know, you must take
Someone go and that fish. I know, any man will take one. I'll bet. Tea. Je viens avec spoon.
You are seeing my own right now. I want to go and take my own food by take.
Oh, you are.
I know, get the wheel.
Patience. Report to the chamber.
Me.
You don't know what somebody's story means. You don't possibly mean
I'm coming.
You don't understand the question.
Don't give me that one. You already use it. Yeah, okay, do it for the
The story from my past week. Is it this food that
I
you
know you don't know about.
Is this food that you are eating? And I'm hungry. That's not what you said. Yes, sir.
This story, yeah, it's from their past.
Yes.
You also, I want to see if you remember story. No one, and I'll give you please what?
And they want to make money of the past, not they're making money of their past. They want to if you win, they will give you the money.
That's what I'm saying. That's for me.
And even tell you a sad story of the past, you tell you a story about the bad past, and also you come and tell a story about the sad thing, you if you don't know. Anything you tell a story about your past, your sad moment, you will use it.
Except you are still in the past.
Even if you're in the past, when you say, yeah, as those things come down, those things come back to you.
When you think it's difficult to get out of the past. Of course, there's no past, there's no future without the past.
Patience.
Yes, Biggy.
earlier today, in the afternoon, you used a word, or rather, a phrase, which was not supposed to be used in the mansion. Am I wrong?
Biggie, I was provoked too. I was insulted first, so I retaliated with an insult.
Give a recount.
During the photo shoot session, when all of us took our individual pictures, the group I was in, it was made up of myself, Dario, Fish, and Adash. We had to take a group picture before the session ends. And the photographers were trying to switch positions of everyone. Initially, he was told to move behind me, and he refused. I'm sure all of that was caught on camera. And when he eventually moved behind me, he was bending and touching, and I told him not to touch me. And he went ahead and insulted me, Wawotsin. Said a couple of other things, but the ones I could remember vividly, he said Wawotsin, tin tomatoes, ugly tin. So I retaliated by, after he continually insulted me, I retaliated by calling him, I don't remember. Anyway, Biggie, yeah, that's what happened. He pushed me, so that's why I retaliated that way.
Patience.
Yes.
You know too well that on no occasion or circumstances must you use a vulgar word or a word that can ignite violence against another flatmate
Biggie,
in
I was
the
pushed.
mansion.
I was insulted continuously. I held my peace.
Patience.
Yes, Biggie.
Whatever is the situation, you know how to channel it. It is the rules, and you must follow them. Do you understand?
Understood.
You may leave.
Because I know you the most harmful thing I see happens. So that if you are not share this rice first, and then it's going to see the people that you of course you no, so I'm I will manage to go to share by now. I will share the fish. I'm not going to share the fish. I will eat fish. Please, leave it, get my piece of okay. It's too much. That means it comes to say you managed to convince this lady and get one flat.
Okay.
Because of your so let's do short.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. No, like, when you're in that room.
And three more of people.
And dash.
Just that I did not really recognize those who were there for the fact that when I spoke, she stuck. I shooting star and told me it was a brain, so it just can't be a brain. I needed to be forward now. Meanwhile, three more also did a great deal. With Bobby and that.
Back.
Oko.
Hunger today was proudly sponsored by Mogabo Corporation.
I tell you, they'll finish and cook, start sharing, and then they tell us to come and present.
They sponsor the whole team of fathers and mothers for fish for about. And we saw all types of artistic installations.
Oh yeah, explain it after she
Bring memory loss. That's what I'm is fish. The fish I eat. So you want to tell me that you want to throw a hammer for like that on decoration? I'm the only one who I'm the one who everyone is on the bathroom we make like Chinese map. When you see the one five per hour, are you sure you keep quiet? You want 5 per hour? Go ahead, Bob. See, here that's what's up. You learn to buy restaurant, you buy a restaurant, break my tire, choose that for you. Look my freshness, please look my size, look my bulkiness. If you chop, you don't come here. If you chop, you don't come here. I need to chop here. Now you don't know why I come here, like, how we block you. Carry the like planty. Odoyo. Yeah, I'm going to the one line. I see my beg to stay crying. See, boy, I beg down people. I hold right to you. Oi. You know, I used to make an opinion. Go. How much fame? I'm sorry, you told me. You can't put a gift for how you say. But when I go for a gift, I need to record. Comment on la cour, il va se faire des gifs. Des gros cabinets studio, ça nous fait des gifs. Ah, wonderful. Odoyo. Top here, c'est la ligne. Et on a mis une place qui est Odoyo, Youth Association. If you want to move, take. Oh, one job money and money should be move. Ça fait quoi? Ça fait rien. D'un enfant qui a grandi à Douala, j'ai grandi à Douala, mais tu peux pas avoir vos habitudes. Non, tu n'as pas. Tu es de l'âge de Douala. Tu n'as pas grandi comme lui. J'ai grandi, mais tu peux pas avoir vos habitudes. Quel âge? C'est sans habitude. Tu es de quel âge? On connaît tous les gens. On connaît tous les gens. On connaît les Bassa, on connaît les Douala. Non, les petits enfants qui ont grandi de montagne, ils s'en foutent. On fait des choses sans. Tu ne pouvez pas t'adapter avec l'habitude. Comme l'habitude des gens de Douala. Moi, je ne peux pas m'adapter. Tu ne peux pas le faire. Il y a Douala, il y a Bassa. Quand les Bassa sont au bar, tu connais qu'ils ont déjà colonisé tout l'endroit. Mais de la maman, tu ne peux pas se voir. Vous avez déjà fui, non? Tu as vu que la belle vie, ça y est, on dit. Non, c'est la belle vie là-bas. La belle vie à Yaoundé, tu ne peux pas avoir rien ici. Hein? Então o gongo we tem essa state Douala mi yes, ano we take attitude to begin with Douala. Take attitude begin with Douala na fine attitude. You know Douala get very low attitude. You see Adash attitude, Douala group. It show clear. See Adash carry all that Douala to their attitude. No, which eight fish? We say Douala is Douala. I say any man Douala. I don't stay for Douala. I don't stay for Douala. I tell no. I say no. Now you don't understand. You didn't tell me yesterday. You didn't tell me yesterday no. I go Douala. I don't get that. You know why I talk about it? I want to take a fruit. It speak inside. It speak inside the fruit. So I say no attitude that you speak inside your way. Instead of not group with Douala, get that attitude. Obviously, that all for the Douala, that
yes, that attitude.
Donc là, tu fais ça, tu ne manques pas. Dario. Donc c'est toi, tu peux pas faire ça.
Pourquoi il va faire ça? Tu te refuse ma nourriture carrément et si tu forces à prendre, il te laisse avec.
Non, on te laisse pas. Ne laisse pas. Laisse pas.
C'est la saleté.
Moi, je connais les filles que non.
Il y a des gens qui font ça.
Voilà.
Mais quand je te dis que c'est la saleté, j'ai grandi à Douala. Normalement, il y a des gens.
Tu peux être là-bas, tu peux partir à Douala, tu as peut-être 10 ans, 12 ans. Mais si tu n'as pas la base c'est 2 ans, 3 ans.
Non, il ne peut pas avoir la base parce que tu es né là-bas.
Tu n'as pas la base,
tu n'as pas avoir la base. Mais j'ai passé la majorité de ma vie. Hein?
Oui, je comprends.
Je suis né et que j'ai 28 ans aujourd'hui. Sache que j'ai passé 26 ans. Non, sache que j'ai passé 19 ans. Oui, en fait, j'ai fait 19 ans.
Voilà. Tu n'as pas la base, parce que tout commence là. C'est quand tu vois les grands frères faire, que tu sais que c'est normal de le faire.
Les gens qui m'ont.
Moi, j'ai commencé à Douala, après, si tu es parti au nord.
Les gens qui m'ont.
Au nord, était wise, très mal.
Les gens qui m'ont gagné à Douala, c'était les Bassins.
Wash your plate. God bless you.
Je parle pas, mais j'ai détesté mon père.
Lavez votre plat.
Même même qui a parlé n'a pas avec son plat.
C'est votre bébé.
Apa. Et dis-moi punishment, no I'm your go.
Okay, now, Papa.
Tell me and clear me what punishment. Some man they wash anything with them.
Il y a une fille que non. Chaque fois que tu
chaque fois que tu
te mets ta nourriture, tu lui mets peut-être son pain, comme un peu le pain Sincha, ça s'appelle Sincha. Elle prend son pain là, elle crache, du coup, ça tire des coups. Mais là, un jour alors, pour montrer que c'est si wise, elle joue, elle est évanouie. Je prends le pain, je aussi mon pain, tu
es allé avec quelqu'un qui fait comme ça.
Oui.
Elle a fait ça la coupe. J'ai un grand que, on a grandi ensemble à l'école. Donc, avec on était association technique. La vie était dure. Donc, quand j'ai rendu je le trouve très cher.
You crazy, you're not gonna try to die.
We have 900 by now. By
I'll do
9:30,
X.
you can engage in some few things before the day ends. Are we together with that? Donc c'était que finalement on a maintenant avant de
You are just chanting in this house, you are chanting.
On va recommencer avec cette chose avant.
Le jour là nous sommes entrés. Petit a fait la nourriture pour manger. Il avait faim. La nourriture quoi, les tapocas. Il va acheter parce qu'on veut le tapoca de la sardine. La sardine, on fume des mille. On fume un peu des mille. Sur la sardine, comment on fume la sardine, on fume pas, c'est sec. La sardine, on fume la nourriture, mais la sardine, mais c'est pas trop sec là comme le maquereau qu'on fume sec là. La sardine fumée, mais c'est pas trop sec. C'est ça qu'on prend pour boire le tapoca. Il a fait, il mange, le gars là, il veut manger. Il veut manger. Le gars est entré dans la chambre de ma mère. Et dans la chambre de ma tante. Sorti par la fenêtre. Vous voyez que le gars là ne devait pas entrer dans notre chambre. Le gars là est entré. Parti jusqu'à il a craché dans l'assiette là. Il était fatigué, il crachait dans l'assiette. Le gars a pris le cœur. Il a mangé.
Tout c'est dans la tête, non?
C'est là qu'on va comprendre que tout ça comme ça, c'est dans la tête. Et quand tu as faim, oublie.
Et
moi j'ai fait ça comme sinon il pouvait seulement dire que non. Même si tu fais pas la il va manger ça. Ce qui était dans sa tête. Mais c'est pas un bon.
Non, tout c'est dans la tête. Tu vois la nourriture que tu peux pas là. Si on te dit pas cracher dedans, tu vas savoir ça. Voilà. Tu vas manger quand tu viens de dire que tu sais qu'à l'intérieur, je vais cracher à l'intérieur et j'ai pris ma belle sur mes fesses, j'ai mis là ça. Tu vas savoir. Tu vas savoir moyen.
C'est moi, you are the cookies, but I couldn't offer it.
Mais ça, c'est
Not just
once, but twice.
Wow, mon Dieu.
I'm upstairs. I didn't even have called him. Yes.
Comme ça. Et il a pris comme ça devant.
But if you are stressed, you shall know them. I'm telling you to allow me now. I need to be allowed. Ah. Look at women want to have husbands in the future. They cannot have a career. You know?
On est aussi fatigué. Il va venir ainsi. C'est que vous êtes fatigué. Mais j'ai déjà fait beaucoup. C'est vrai quand je vais sur ces mots, je vais me fatiguer comme si. Et j'ai fait. Vous êtes fatigué. Je vais prendre soin de vous. Et si je suis un empêchement, c'est que je suis. Seulement le souffle que je suis là, je vous donne. Parce que le pied aura un jour que vous allez chercher.
I don't understand. Maybe it's not man you marry. I mean, you marry a woman. Marry a husband. Yeah, because the man you marry, as the head of my home, the woman doesn't have any voice in my home. But the husband will say, darling, you are the bone of my bone. Come, let's visit. Success of. So you see the difference between a man and a husband. So I'm going to marry to a husband, not a man. Yes, Captain.
You can massage the leg of a woman. You cannot take
Le fait qu'on l'a pas mis à la. Le fait qu'on l'a pas mis à la maison. Quelqu'un qui a donné, il n'est pas méchant. Quelqu'un qui a travaillé dans une communauté. Il y avait un camp dans l'autre. Il y avait un camp là-bas chez nous qui n'avait pas le temps. On a trouvé un petit chercher. L'eau était comme qui est venu laver.
So you have to eat it.
Plus que l'eau regarde dans l'eau soit en bas, ça qui c'était mais pour nous là c'était comme on a plusieurs fabriqué maintenant et l'eau en dessous.
What's more, amen. Trafficante. Nice. What is a fellow kind mago? I please. Maima. Mutual man. Oh yeah, you got man.
Comme si ça sort de photo.
Did I talk to anybody? Look at me, this man. Who is talking? I don't see anybody. What level was it? That I'm mentioning it. I was talking to a family.
Mention it.
Just
mention it.
Spiritual man.
Yeah, intimidating.
I was talking to a family. What? But I mentioned it. I didn't do nothing.
Just like tomorrow morning, bro.
Yes. You don't reach. I thought you were going to punch me or something.
No, why would I do that?
So why would you dare to say it again? I wasn't even talking to you. That's the funniest thing. Like, who is this?
I just need to pick it, bro.
That's the last time, okay?
I'll just pick it. So
like I was saying.
Yeah, You're very good. You're very good. You're very good at dodging me. But c'est même quoi non? C'est même quoi non? We speak the same language. Rubbish. Ça c'est qui? Demi. Demi. Ah!
Please, don't make a way to go beat you. I don't cry. I don't sit down. No, go go to see.
Listen that again.
I want to dance in the music.
I want to see magic again.
The fish was about to set.
Why you empty the slavery out? Why
fish was about to set right now. After you fight problem, you can't punish people.
What to do?
But
what to do?
I'll never point.
I want to be a disobey my no slave. Chantas.
Fish.
We didn't talk as to talk.
Now beat you. Make your teeth.
Say that again. Oh my God. Well, nice Perry. Well, got picking. Well, Perry. Yeah, yeah, please. This somebody don't know.
Fish.
Yes, Biggy.
Report to the chamber.
Fine boy. What's up, man?
Shut up.
I'm in your father.
You just finally take a chamber.
I really his father. Yeah, and to call us mad mountains.
I mean, I like what
One day you go collect me. You go collect broken nose. I promise. Maybe even threat. Do it. I wonder how we'll break it.
See, I don't receive punishment because of this. I don't receive strike because of this. One person. But the point is, I still don't get I don't even want to talk about it.
Fish.
Yes, Biggy.
This is the second time you are in the chamber today.
Yes, Biggy. I was really surprised.
It is a bad sign. Take off your glasses. You have been becoming recalcitrant in the house, always involving in major crises. Earlier today, you disrespected my visitors. and causing unwanted tension during the photo shoot session. Today, you have gone against Biggy's rules twice. This is not a child's play. Sit upright.